Hello, my name is Thomas Massano and today is September 10th, 2018. And this video is going to be about installing HCP Anywhere 4.0 Edge on a Windows server for a demo. Now, as you can see, I'm on Windows Server 2016 and this is Windows Server 2016 Standard Edition. In order to download the client, we have to log into the HCP Anywhere Management Console, and that's on port 8000. And then we go to File Sync and Share, Configuration, Client, and then we scroll down to the Download Client Installers, and we'll see the one for Edge. Click on that, and it should start the download. Once it's completed, we open that and run it. Next. And we're going to launch the registration wizard afterwards. This is going to be a new registration, and the server is my fully qualified name to my management server. The account I'm using is Edge Admin, which has domain administrator rights. Now the registration is complete, and we're going to launch the folder configuration wizard. Now we could scan for folders automatically if this was a server that had user folders on it as home drives. You could use the scan for folders and it would find them. I want to manually add a folder that I want to monitor, and it is a group folder. So this is a share that I have on the network of a folder on this server. So let's take a moment to talk about folders. If you're familiar with Microsoft shares and Microsoft folders, please skip ahead. But just for clarification, sometimes we use these words interchangeably, and that is incorrect. So Microsoft has NTFS permissions on a folder. So we have an E drive with an apps folder, and we have a group of users called users, and we're giving them NTFS file system permissions: execute, list, read, and no write. Those are NTFS folder permissions. Now we have a folder underneath that called keys, and we can assign additional folder permissions on that. And in this example, it's HCP admin we gave all rights to, and then we took all the rights away from the group users. So this looks like only HCP admin can get into this key folders and see it. This is NTFS folder permissions. Now if we want to look at share permissions, when we talk about a share, it is a network accessible share pointing to this folder on this server. And you can assign permissions to a share. Most admins will give everyone permissions at the share level, full control. Now some people see this as a security violation, but it's really not. You may also see domain users or authenticated users in here for share permissions. I'll tell you why this is not a security issue. This is the front door to this file system. So as people come on the network, they have full control to the share, but once they get into the share, they are restricted by the NTFS folder permissions at that point. So we would manage it via the NTFS folder permissions. Now if we look at Microsoft, it'll say total the cumulative permissions on the NTFS side, then total the cumulative permissions on the share side. Whichever of the two is more restrictive becomes the effective permissions. I like to look at it from a top-down perspective. If I'm accessing this from the network, I have to come to the share first, and these are the rights I would have, and then the next I would reach is the folder that this share is accessing, and in this case it's apps. So what is the permissions here? If I didn't have read or list here, I wouldn't be able to see any folders in this share whatsoever. So I'm managing it from this level, and then all of the folders underneath could inherit these permissions, or I could assign explicit permissions to that folder. Now when we talk about Edge, Edge is going to monitor this folder here and then all subfolders underneath it. Okay, so to beat a dead horse, another perspective is we have folders, an E drive, and we have all these folders and subfolders. And then we have a share with a name pointing to a specific folder. That gives us access to this folder and all subfolders beneath it. We can have additional shares that point to subfolders. So this folder keys would actually be the root of this share here. So you could access this keys directory both from this share and also from this share. And this gives us access to all the folders below keys. Edge is going to monitor or manage a folder we selected apps and thereby monitor or manage the folders beneath it. I wanted to point this out because sometimes we think we're managing shares, but we're not. We're really managing folders. This is important if we're trying to manage a server that has shares out there for applications and we want to manage it, but we could also manage a folder that is not shared. Perhaps there's an application running on this server, the folder is not shared, we can manage it or monitor it via Edge. Okay, back to the task at hand. So this is an instance where I have a folder that I am sharing, and it's going to be a group folder. So I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to the E drive, and my folder is called apps. And I'm going to select OK and next. Now, who do I want to give access to this monitored folder? I have someone called Edge admins. I can add them, and I can also add another group called HCP admins. I hear they're good guys. I want to add them also. And I click next. And there they are. It picked it up from Active Directory, the fully qualified name of that group. And now I submit the configuration, and the folder configuration was successfully submitted. And we can click Finish. Now I should have down here on the task tray the Anywhere Edge icon, and I do. I can right click. This is now a Windows service, so I can start it or stop it, but it should be started by default. I can also launch the registration wizard, but I don't need to. I've already registered this. And I could launch the folder configuration wizard if I need to add another folder. Now I can also manage this from the HCP Anywhere Management Console, going to Device Management, and I should be able to now see this server that I just added as an Edge device. Now I can go in and edit this, so we can look at details of this. It'll give us specific information, the operating system, who the owner of it is. We haven't stubbed any files yet, so we'll have no graphics on it yet. We can also go in and look at some of the settings of this. So what's the default quota for this? Do we automatically accept detected folders? So as additional folders are created, do we want to accept them? Yes, we do. Do we automatically want to assign users to detected folders? In this case, we don't. This is really intended for home folders or home drives when the server's used that way. You can see that if you click this, it'll actually say it. This intent is for home folders, and it goes into the explanation. But for this demo, we're just going to use a single folder. And then the Edge storage size, subbing time, and such, and then we could save changes. Now we can also go and manage folders. So here we have this folder here. We could go and manage the users of it. We could also stop monitoring it. We could also create a new folder on this server if we wanted to right from this management screen. Now, don't forget, that would not necessarily share it unless it was already in a shared structure, as I mentioned earlier. So as an example, I could say, I want to create one eTest1. It's creating it off the E drive, and it's going to be test1. The server will have access to it, and Edge will manage it or monitor it, but it's not shared yet. So if we actually go to this folder, we can go to E. We can actually see this says an HCP Anywhere team folder. That concludes the installation of the HCP Anywhere Edge client for a demo. I hope you found it helpful. Thank you.